A land of many trees, much water, and few people. So every year it's open season for rescue parties on hunters and fishermen who have overdone this matter of getting away from it all. And that's just what we were doing last summer, getting away from the daily grind. The trip was Gil Newman's idea. He runs a service station, and he got the invitation from one of his wealthier customers to use this cabin anytime he wanted to.
That stuff's too hot. I'm going to stow some gear in the boat. Is that thing in shape to take us back to civilization tomorrow?
Sure is. I had it out this afternoon. Runs like a top.
Huh?
Young Tom Sullivan works on his jalopy in Gil's station. That's where he heard about the trip, and he persuaded Gil to bring him along. Steve Herbert is another of Gil's customers. He's a shop foreman in one of the big plants in our town.
Let's get this stuff cleared away, huh?
Right with you.
Nick Gusty owns the boat. We pulled it on his trailer to the nearest landing, then ran it out here to the island. The fifth member of our group was me, Arthur Baskin. I happen to live next door to Gil. My work is market research. We had come up here pretty much strangers to one another. Still, for 2 weeks, we got along without any serious trouble until...
The boat's gone.
What? What do you mean, gone?
Gone. I mean gone.
Well, we're stranded out here. Can't be gone. I used it this afternoon.
Oh. Well, why didn't you tie it up?
I did.
If you were in such a kid, I'd...
Lay off, Gil. That's no good.
Oh. You're gonna stick up for him, are you?
No, I guess I'm going to help look for the boat.
You think we have a chance finding it in the dark?
Not much. But there's no harm trying.
There was no sign of the boat, and nobody got much sleep that night. At breakfast, everyone was edgy.
I can't eat. I'm going out and find that boat.
Sit down, kid.
I'll go with you.
Me too.
Look, you're not going out again, are you, without a plan?
You got a plan?
No, but I'd like to hear what Steve has to say.
Well, why him? Did somebody appoint him commissar?
You don't live with men for 2 weeks without finding out something about them. Now, we've had our little differences, yes.
You call this a little difference?
I call this a critical situation. One that demands intelligent leadership.
Well, I sure don't want the job. What do I do, boss?
Don't you want to finish your breakfast?
What's funny?
Oh, I was just thinking. You know, any damn fool could get off this island with a boat. But to get off without a boat, that's going to take some doing.
That's the old pep talk. Now tell us there's nothing to worry about.
Well, there's plenty to worry about. But like we say at the plant, there's no such thing as a problem that can't be solved. Oh, I don't know all the answers, but among the 5 of us, I'm sure we do. Now, here's what we can do. There's a chance that a wind or a current may have grounded the boat. So, Gil, let's you and me circle the island and look for it.
But I ought to look for the boat.
Now, there's a better chance that we won't find it. So you're going fishing, not for fun, but so we can eat.
Well, why should he get the soft job?
Because he's the better fisherman. And Nick's the only hunter we've got in the crowd. So I want you to go out and see what you can find to feed us. You two got it?
Okay, Steve. If you say so.
Then get with it.
What do you want me to do, Steve?
Professor, Somehow, I never got my merit badge on survival techniques. On the job, when I come up against something I don't know, I call on the experts, the planning department, people like that. You know, sometimes they can be pretty theoretical.
What makes you think I'm an expert?
Well, isn't your job something about research or analysis?
Yes.
Well, Professor, I just want you to stay here and research and analyze our problem. See what you come up with.
Well, I'll try.
And if you can think just as well while you're working, something tells me we're going to need a lot of firewood.
Steve got us organized. But I had a hunch he would have liked to feel as confident of our future as he sounded.
Well?
No sign of her. How'd you two make out?
One rabbit. I hope everybody likes fish.
Well, we won't starve anyway.
Professor, how do you size up our situation?
This I've been waiting to hear.
Well, the way I figure is this. None of our families knows just where we are. The owner of the cabin doesn't even know we're in here. We didn't check out with anybody where we left our cars.
And there's nothing. Nobody. We're lost and nobody knows it.
Easy, kid.
Sit down, Tom.
But it's my fault. I let the boat get away.
All right, so it's your fault. So what are you going to do about it? Cry?
Hey, now lay off. Now who's picking on the kid?
You shut up.
No, sir. I'm okay.
Good. Now let's let the professor finish.
Well, while I was out there cutting firewood, I had an idea. So I cut a lot more wood for a fire outside, a big smoky fire.
Hey, a fire, sure. A lot of private planes fly hunters and fishermen all around here. When they see our smoke, they'll come to investigate.
If they see the smoke. Look, shall we light that fire?
You're doing fine, Professor. Just pick out a safe spot where you won't send the whole island up in flames.
We got the fire started, and Steve assigned us in turn to watch it. I had the second watch, and Steve was slated to relieve me. When he arrived, there was something on his mind.
Professor, we gotta do something. It's no good just sitting around waiting for somebody to spot our fire.
Well, we'll all be breaking up, huh? Just like the kid.
Yep. We gotta keep the troops busy on the way to get out of here.
Doing what?
We're gonna build a raft. We'll cut paddles to get us over to the mainland. Then we'll pole our way along the shore until we get back to where we left the car. Or find a camp along the way. How's it sound?
It makes sense to me.
And all I've got to do is sell the others. Because if it doesn't have their active cooperation, they can sabotage it intentionally or otherwise. Unless they really get behind it, it won't do anything for our morale. And it won't get the raft built.
So Steve went to work, using a different approach on each man, depending on what he knew about that man. He sold me on the basis of facts and logic. Nick was dead set against building the raft, certain that somebody would spot our fire. Until Steve said,
Nick, I don't know how to build a raft. And you do. That's why we need you, Nick. Whether you think it makes sense or not, we've got to have you help us and show us what to do.
The kid was lying awake when Steve got back to the cabin. He wasn't hard to sell.
I know you're feeling guilty about letting the boat get away. Now here's your chance to do something about it.
That left Gil. And Steve got to him in the morning before the rest of us were up.
So now we're gonna play Swiss Family Robinson, huh?
Well, I don't know any other way to get off the island. Meanwhile, if we don't keep these fellas busy, they'll go stir crazy. Well, one thing?
Yeah, I guess they will.
It's gonna be a rough job, Gil. You're the strongest guy we got. If you weren't willing to work, I don't know whether we'd be able to make it.
Are you calling me a slacker?
I just said if.
I have to hand it to Steve. He took 5 men of different skills, different backgrounds, different personalities, and molded us into a real working team. And I have to hand it to him, too, that as soon as Nick proved he knew what he was doing, Steve let him boss the project and took his orders along with the rest of us. But Steve knew what was going on and why. And he was the one who assigned men to jobs, according to the way he'd sized us all up. My job was to make a sail out of a tarp. Things had been going well all morning, until I heard a commotion outside. We couldn't tell whether the pilot spotted either my signal or our fire. But I figured at least there was hope.
Well, Professor, you can knock off now. Our rescue party is practically on the way.
How can you be sure?
How could they miss?
Just the same, we better keep on with our work.
Huh? Who says so?
I say so.
Now look, I went along with this raft gag. I worked as hard as anybody, didn't I?
That's all right, and you're going to keep right on working.
Now listen, Steve. I've taken about as much as I'm going to take from you. That plane spotted us, see? And any man who thinks that I'm going to keep on building that damn raft is looking for a fight.
I'm ready.
How long do you think you can stand up to me?
Well, there's one way to find out.
Of all the stupid... Toss me that knife. I said toss it here. The knife I'm working with is too dull.
He could have knocked your block off. You know that.
I know it. He knows that I know it. That's why I won.
I don't follow.
Well, suppose he had knocked my block off. He wouldn't have won anything. He knows it.
As it turned out, that plane did spot us. And in a couple of hours, another one came in to fly us out. We didn't need the raft. But since then, I've often wondered whether we could have gotten out with it. I'm pretty sure we could. After all, as Steve says, there's no problem that can't be solved when people work together. But it takes leadership.